Like most of us, I really like Portal 2's combustible lemon speech, but I've yet to see anyone answer why. I'm getting ahead of myself, though.
Good morning. You have been in suspension for 50 days. In compliance with state and federal regulations, all testing candidates in the Aperture Science Extended Relaxation Center must be revived periodically for a mandatory physical and mental wellness exercise. You will hear about...
Portal 2 used to be my favorite video game. The shabby hotel room feels like a second home to me. I say used to be, because it's been a decade since I've woken up here. A lot of great titles have been released in that time. I've also been scared to look back at anything my younger self took seriously. I missed the game's parody. I was admittedly jealous of GLaDOS's position.
Turret redemption lines are not rides. Please exit the turret redemption line.
You know, as a Factorial player. And by extension, I want to see myself as her equal.
Good. Finally, a nemesis worthy of my vast intellect. Holmes versus Moriarty. Aristotle versus Mashy Spike Plates.
The game inspired young me to become something of a scientist, and I worried this passion for hard science would engender resentment towards a fast and loose interpretation of physics. So my friends were uniting with their childhood favorites, Half-Life, Fear, Max Payne. I reunited with an old friend, and boy was I glad to see that she was still her old self.
Oh, it's you.
You know her?
It's been a long time. How have you been?
What I found was that the game's lack of hard science was more than made up for in its parody of for-profit research.
And we are almost bankrupt. So, time for a cheaper approach. Allow me to introduce the multiverse.
Even with the puzzle solutions fresh in my memory, the act of flying through the test chambers was as fun as ever.
Look at you, sailing through the air majestically, like an eagle, piloting a blimp.
I didn't realize how fast I was flying until I heard GLaDOS say,
But that crazy man down there was right. Let's not take these lemons. We are going to march right back upstairs and make him put me back in my body.
Wait, GLaDOS, nobody mentioned lemons. Did we miss the lemon speech?
Good morning. You have been in suspension for 9.
It was at this point I realized I missed the combustible lemon speech. Apparently, this is a common skip in the speedrunning community. But I'm no speedrunner. I'm just a tourist, visiting home, seeing all the sights before moving on again. So I looked it up and I didn't like it.
Corrupted cores. We're in luck. You find a way to stun him.
I'm sorry, Lemon fans, but this one didn't land after all these years. Just felt random. Or maybe a protracted pun on how lemonade sounds like lemon grenade? This was my initial reaction. But on talking it over with my Half-Life friend, I convinced myself that it's actually really clever in ways I don't see anyone talking about, especially in regards to Cave Johnson's history, and what it reveals about GLaDOS's feelings towards him, but let's back up a bit. Cave Johnson founded Aperture Science in 1943 under the name Aperture Fixtures. They sold shower curtains to the military, only transitioning to science after what seems to be 4 very successful years of business. At least from what these trophies show. But why do we care? Well, it shows that Cave Johnson isn't a scientist. He's a salesman. He's much better at convincing you he has something of value than actually inventing something new. This will catch up with him later, but right now it's the 1950s and business is booming. The carpets are red, the chairs are comfortable, and the testers are...
Astronauts, war heroes, Olympians, you're here because we want the best. And you are it. So, who's ready to make some science?
As we move through the chambers of Chapter 6, we find Cave at the height of his career, happy, charismatic, and despite the dangers, he is genuinely fun to listen to. I can see why people work with him.
I like your style. You make up your own rules, just like me. Bean Counter said I couldn't fire a man just for being in a wheelchair. Did it anyway. Ramps are expensive.
This doesn't last. How could it? Few Aperture Science projects make it to market, and those that do are recalled for safety. And by the late 60s...
Greetings, friend. I'm Cave Johnson, CEO of Aperture Science. You might know us as a vital participant in the 1968 Senate hearings on missing astronauts.
Cave 2 has changed. He blames Black Mesa for every failure, but he cannot prove it.
From us. Black Mesa can eat my bankrupt...
Sir, the testing?
Right. Now you might be asking yourself,
We enter a new office space for the modern age of the 1970s. Looks like a payday loan center, complete with the plastic furniture, the linoleum tiles, and that dark mustard yellow covering everything. He hates the new batch of testers, who he allegedly found on a park bench. This new cave is significantly less fun and charismatic than before.
thank you. I can't believe I'm thanking these people for staggering your way through Aperture Science's propulsion gel testing. You've made some real contributions to society for a change, and for that, humanity is grateful. If you had any belongings, please pick them up now. We don't want old newspapers and sticks cluttering up the building. For many of you, I realize $60 is an unprecedented windfall, so don't go spending it all on, I don't know, Carolyn, what do these people buy? Tattered hats? Beard dirt?
Most importantly, he isn't funny. Whether or not you agree with mocking the homeless, nothing Cave says in the first half of Chapter 7 sounds like a joke, which in a comedy game is a crime.
If you're interested in an additional $60, flag down a test associate and let them know. You could walk out of here with 120 weighing down your bindle if you let us take you apart, put some science stuff in you, then put you back together, good as new.
The only question I'm left with is this. Did Cave's downward spiral embitter him, or are we just seeing a different side of the guy? Was his cheery demeanor always a guise over his questionable ethics?
The average human male is about 60% water. As far as we're concerned, that's a little extravagant. So if you feel a bit dehydrated in this next test, that's normal. We're going to hit you with some jet engines and see if we can't get you down to 20 or 30%.
How would Cave feel knowing Chell now moves through his test chambers? Would he abuse her the way GLaDOS did?
Good for him. All right, back to thinking.
Chell continues moving upwards, with every layer a year, contrasting Cave's descent. It is now the 1980s, and Aperture Science can no longer afford to spend even $60 to put a volunteer in a test chamber. They've taken to forcing their own staff to volunteer. The offices here are gray, utilitarian, and barren. This isn't a public space, but a private one.
As a result, you may have heard we're going to phase out human testing. There's still a few things left to wrap up, though. The bean counters told me we literally could not afford to buy $7 worth of moon rocks, much less 70 million. Bought them anyway, ground them up, mixed them into a gel. And guess what? Ground up moon rocks are pure poison. I am deathly ill. Still, it turns out they're a great portal conductor. So now, we're going to see if jumping in and out of these new portals can somehow leach the lunar poison out of a man's bloodstream. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Let's all stay positive and do some science.
Cave has nothing left to hide. His last dollar spent. One last trip to the moon left him dying from the dust he brought back. Only now do we hear his famous lemon speech.
All right, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade.
Yeah.
Make life take the lemons back.
Yeah.
Get mad.
Yeah.
I don't want your damn lemons. What am I supposed to do with these?
Yeah, take the lemons.
Demand to see life's manager.
Yeah.
Make life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
Oh, I like this guy.
I'm gonna get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down.
Burning people. He says what we're all thinking.
The point is, if we can store music on a compact disc, why can't we store a man's intelligence and personality on one? So I have the engineers figuring that out now. Brain mapping, artificial intelligence. We should have been working on it 30 years ago. I will say this, and I'm going to say it on tape so everybody hears it 100 times a day. If I die before you people can pour me into a computer, I want Carolyn to run this place. Now she'll argue. She'll say she can't. She's modest like that, but you make her. Hell, put her in my computer, I don't care. All right, test's over. You can head on back to your desk.
Goodbye, sir.
Back in its original context, it strikes me as more tragic than comedic. Yes, it is funny, but more importantly, this is Kay's first comedic moment in decades, and it comes just before the end. This will be the last we hear from him for our playthrough. One final emergence of his old charismatic self, for an audience of only his most loyal employees, the few remaining scientists who haven't quit or died, Caroline, and now Chell. He is wrong, however. Life did not give him lemons. He took them for himself. he chose to move into science, to create unsafe products without public interest. He blamed his failures on his competition, the eggheads, the bean counters, and yes, life itself. He was successful in making combustible lemons. His legacy is a poisoned one, survived by the asbestos, the mobility gels, and, well, GLaDOS. Don't think I was ignoring her feedback. Her enthusiasm betrays quite a bit about her, actually. You see, both the player and Chell have spent the first game and a half viewing GLaDOS in a position of authority, shifting the literal walls of our chambers while setting the narrative for us. Did she really see a deer on the surface? Who's to say? But now we get to see her in the
party escort submission position.
As a potato, her wattage limits her cognition, and emotional outbursts. Her words. If she thinks too hard.
Who is that? What the hell is going on here?
On top of this, she is coming to terms with her relationship to her human past as Caroline, Kay's former assistant. You may think, therefore, that GLaDOS is not presenting her true self when she fails to see the irony in Kay's speech. But I disagree. This is her moment of emotional vulnerability. She doesn't have the wattage to hold back any conflicting feelings. This is honesty. She has experienced this monologue once before as Caroline, and is now responding both to Cave and to her past self, remembering that she did not leave Aperture Science when she had the chance.
Oh, thank God, you're all right. You know, being Carolyn taught me a valuable lesson. I thought you were my greatest enemy, when all along you were my best friend. The surge of emotion that shot through me when I saved your life taught me an even more valuable lesson, where Carolyn lives in my brain.
Carolyn deleted.
Goodbye, Carolyn.
Caroline made a choice to stay working for Cave, decades after the original shine wore off. It is ambiguous whether she chose to become GLaDOS. Cut audio suggests she didn't.
Mr. Johnson, I don't want this.
Whether we consider this canon or not, we are certain she gassed the entire staff on waking, a betrayal of the man's vision for a scientific future, perhaps.
No, listen to me. Sir, I do not want this.
But a perfect imagining of his combustible lemons. In the present, GLaDOS's affirmation of Kay's speech is nothing less than an affirmation of Caroline. They are at last one in the end. All-powerful GLaDOS decides to take Cave's stupidest idea to heart, not once, but twice. And I think that is brilliant.